Hi everybody, it's Kirsten. I haven't made a video in a very, very long time and I have so much to tell you. Um, I know I look atrocious right now. I'm in my pajamas. It is 9:30 at night and honestly I'm ready to go to bed, but I had some people on Tumblr asking about my videos and why I haven't posted any new ones, so I decided I needed to just do it because I have so much to share. Um, so I think the last time I made a video, it was back in August, the first week of August, when they were sending my stuff to TRICARE, and we're backtracking all the way to August. Um, about a week after my stuff was sent out, I called the clinic because I got so anxious. I was like, I need to know what's going on. And I spoke with the insurance lady, and she was like, I just called them yesterday and they approved you for the surgery, but we need a copy of the approval letter and they sent it in the mail. So I was like, are you serious? They needed the hard letter, and my insurance is apparently very behind on modern day technology, like a computer or a fax machine for that matter. I was just like, the hell, why? So I was like, it's gonna take like a week longer. Not that that mattered because we were trying to push for surgery on September 29th, and by this time it was mid-August. Yeah, mid-August for sure, when they had sent my stuff off to TRICARE, and um, the lady told me that like they would send me a letter in the mail as well as the hospital, and if I got my letter first, to like call her and be like, I got my letter, and then either have it faxed in or something. And so about 3 or 4 days later I got my letter in the mail, and I called them and I was like, Stacy, I got my letter, I need to, the insurance lady, we're on a first name basis, that's how much we talk. I was like, I got my letter, and she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, let's book you to surgery. And we go to book my surgery, and my surgeon, since he's retiring, only operates on Tuesdays. And she had been shooting for September 29th because it was the last Tuesday of September. That was like his most recent, or like the only opening he had. But by the time my insurance had gotten back with my letter, the spot had already been taken, so that day was full. And so they couldn't get me in until October 5th. Well, this is where it got really, really intense. So, long story short, with my insurance, we have a $3,000 out-of-pocket cap that, and then it's annual. So I pay 25% out of pocket for all of my visits that I've had. So all my nutritionist appointments, all my psych appointments, all my just regular general bariatric appointments, my blood work, my previous doctor's appointments, ER visits, you get the thing, for the past year. Well, that cap starts over on October 1st. And within the past year, I've had so many appointments that I've built up a pretty sizable amount of that $3,000 cap. And if this surgery was going to cost me a ton out of pocket, I would possibly have to drop $3,000 for the surgery, depending on how much I would have to pay, and I don't have that kind of money. Especially, like, let's say if I had used $2,500 of that cap, and I would only have to pay $500 for the surgery, and then it would be done. Insurance would cover the rest. But since it starts over October 1st, if my surgery was anytime in October, I would have to pay $3,000 because it starts over. And I was just like, I can't do that. I can't afford it, because you have to figure the surgery itself, the surgeon's fees, the hospital stay, any testing and lab work and stuff that they do that would cost anything out of pocket. And I was just like, I don't have the money. And then you have follow-up appointments to figure, and after that I have a 1 week with my nutritionist, and then I have a 1 week with my surgeon, and then I have another follow-up with a nutritionist at 2 weeks, and then I have a 2-week like class that I have to attend that is listed as a office visit. It's just, it would have been too much. I wouldn't have been able to do it. And so for about a week and a half, Stacy and I ran around anxiously trying to see if there would be a spot opening up, because it can happen. People either don't stop smoking, you have to quit smoking, and you have to be able to pass your test. Some people gain weight, and you can't gain weight in my program. And so I was hoping on a limb that I would get out on the 29th, and I needed to book a surgery because there's 4 other surgeons in my program, and their surgery times were filling up into October as well. And so the last minute they were like, why don't we change surgeons? Let's swap surgeons. And I was really apprehensive about that. I didn't want to. I really, really, really wanted this surgeon because he was like the greatest thing since buttered toast, and I was just like, I don't want to. But when it came down to it, I ended up switching to a surgeon who is technically in my network for my insurance, and but he wouldn't book me for a surgery unless he met me in person. So I had to have another consult, which I did 3 weeks ago, maybe, like September something. I don't know if it will tell you, but today is September 14th. And let's see. My appointment with my new surgeon was August 31st. So I literally just met my new surgeon 2 weeks ago, and I loved him. Loved him. There was nothing wrong with the surgeon, obviously, that I had initially picked out. I was really, like, dead set on him. But this other surgeon that I'm going to now, his name is Dr. Kelly. He's wonderful. His bedside manner is totally different. And it's not that my other surgeon had different poor bedside manner, but it was just different styles. My first doctor was very, like, blunt and straight to the point, where my new surgeon, Dr. Kelly, is very, he goes out of his way to make sure that you feel comfortable, and I really like that, and I'm happy that I switched. Very, very happy. So I got scheduled for September 30th. I have a date, everybody. And guess what? Today is September 14th, so it's 2 weeks and 2 days away. So, beyond ecstatic. The end of the pre-op tunnel actually has finished officially as of today, which is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stuff. So what happened after I got my date was I was put in a pre-op class, which it was really, really fun. That was last Thursday, so September 10th, and I sat in a room with 5 other people, 6 total, and we worked with my nutritionist, and they gave us packets. Oh, I have it with me. Why try to explain it in theory when I can show you in person? Literally a packet of the 2-week pre-surgery liquid diet, what days to start it, the purpose of it, and all that fun stuff. A list of all the different kind of protein shakes that meet my pre-op program's requirements, and then a shopping list. All these things are things that I can eat on my liquid diet that I start technically Wednesday, but I'm starting it tomorrow. And then, like, how to do a meal plan and stuff. And then they gave me a packet for after surgery liquid diets for your full liquid diet for the first week with gastric bypass, 2 weeks if you're having a sleeve done. And it's kind of the same thing, except this includes pain med, or how to take your pain medications and when to go to the doctor and all that kind of stuff. We had to take like quiz during that class to make sure we knew what we were going through. And one of the other things that they gave us that I thought was absolutely amazing is this beauty. This is a list of all of the medications that I am currently on. I don't take all of them, like the Adderall and all that kind of stuff, on a regular basis, but they basically gave you instructions for how to take medication, or the medications that you were on beforehand, after surgery, because obviously you can't swallow a whole pill. So whether it was okay to cut or crush, if you could open the capsule and like sprinkle it into food, all that kind of stuff. And they even like printed me out a schedule for all my upcoming stuff. So I had that done. So that was my class. First in the morning, I did mine differently than what some people do. We had to be there at 10 o'clock to meet with the nutritionist, and then we were there from 10 till like maybe 11:30, and then at 1 a nurse came in and literally walked us through all of the technicality stuff of surgery day, and we signed our consent forms, and boy, that was when like the sinking feeling of I'm really doing this, because I signed my name on more pieces of paper more times than I did when I bought my car. They literally broke down the procedure step by step, and I had to like initial everything, and I'm pretty sure that's standard practice for any surgery, but I was just kind of like, ah, it's real. And then we had to weigh in with our nutritionist that day to make sure we didn't gain any weight. And when I made my last video, I think I was about 250 to 48 pounds maybe. I currently weigh 242 pounds. So I have lost about 15 pounds total from the start of my program back in May. Working really hard. I knew that I was gonna have to do the liquid diet, so I started like intermittently adding protein shakes instead of meals, so that way it wouldn't be so hard when I started my liquid diet, just to like cut out all of my meals. I'd be kind of used to the whole like liquids, so I started with just, instead of eating a breakfast, I drink a protein shake, and then it turned after a couple of days from eating breakfast and lunch into protein shakes instead of having meals and then just supper. And then the past 2 days I've kind of last suppered it unintentionally, but still. So yeah, lost weight. And then I had to, in between my 2 classes, so in between meeting with my nutritionist and excuse me, and the nurse, I had to go have an EKG done, blood work, EKG, blood work, chest x-ray, and stuff for anesthesia and all the other technicalities that come with having surgery. And that was that. And then my last, the end of pre-op officially appointment was today. And that was with my primary care doctor, who had to do a pre-op physical, and she was completely unaware that I was doing this. I didn't tell her, and the reason I didn't tell her was because I had mentioned briefly gastric bypass surgery about a year ago to her, and she kind of shrugged it off as if something she didn't think I needed. And it's not that she doesn't support it, but I was nervous. I was worried I was going to go in there and she'd be like, no, you don't need this, it's not good, and whatever. And I was kind of concerned. I was more nervous about my appointment today than I have been about any appointment that I've ever had this whole entire process, because I'm really close with my family doctor, and I really wanted her acceptance and approval. I've had a lot of like negative naysayers through this whole entire thing, and she was just one person that I was really like wanting to hear something positive from. And so I was super happy when I walked in today. I sat down and she walked into the room and she was completely silent, and she sat down, she did her little thing at the computer, and then she looks at me, puts her hands in her lap, and she goes, so are you nervous? And I just like shook my head no. And she was like, are you excited? And I was like, yes. And she was like, good, you should be. And it was the greatest feeling ever. I was so happy that she was so happy about how educated I am on all of this and how much work I have gone through. And this isn't just about food. There's so much more to this than food, and I really hope if you're pre-op and considering the surgery, like, it is, it's such an emotional journey, and it's not, now that like I have a date and it's coming up, like it's so much more real, and I'm more excited now than I have been about anything because I know that I'm prepared and I'm literally doing everything I can. I've been to every support group that I could possibly be on. I am on Tumblr, I'm on Thinner Times Forum, I am on Bariatric Pal on my phone. Like, this has become my life, and it's the first time I've ever put myself first, and I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm honest about all of this. I, unlike other people, have chosen to be completely out there with my journey with people, including friends and family, like such on Facebook. I know some people like to keep things quiet and away from coworkers and all that stuff, but I haven't, and there's no regrets. I've had some pretty negative people, but I'll talk about that in another video because that's like a whole nother battle. So I just wanted to give you guys an update because now I think my next video that I'll be making will be pretty close, if not the day of surgery. So it's real. There is an ending to pre-op, I promise, and it's wonderful. So thank you guys. Love you all. Definitely like and subscribe if you would like to follow me on my journey. I would really appreciate all the love and support. I feel very grateful to have such a great support system that I have now, and I don't know what I would do without it because I for sure wouldn't be here. Have a good night, guys.